Just want to really express my gratitude to the Lord for this ministry, ACT International. For Byron, when I met him, talked to him on the phone. This was probably 5 years ago. He talked to me like I was the only one that he's going to talk to for a week, whatever, you know. It was just amazing. And I've seen that as I've gone around to and met other people in the ministry. Just really, really amazing. What a blessing. Interesting to see how God creates things, continues things, and enables things. My background, I'm from, in fact, if you remember the map up here, in the west, I'm from New Mexico. So you've got Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico here, right? There's this big cross here someone pointed out to me once. So I'm in New Mexico. I'm about in the middle on the west side. As Guy said, next to the Navajo Reservation, which is about the size of West Virginia, 300,000 folks there. And so my wife and I have been out there more or less 20 years serving. She's from Phoenix. I'm from Salt Lake City. What's Salt Lake City known for? Anybody? No? No, snow. I grew up in that culture, right? Mormon culture. But I remember as a child sitting in the parking lot. I don't know why I was the only one in the car, sitting in the parking lot downtown Salt Lake City of this little fast food place, and listening to a radio station. It was a Christian radio station. There wasn't even one in Utah, but this was coming out of Nevada. And so I remember listening to that, and then I used to watch Billy Graham on TV in my home. And no one sat and watched it with me. I didn't know why I was watching it, but you know how God brings us from where we were, wherever that would be, even in a Christian home or non, to where we are now. And so back in the mid-'70s, I was a Mormon missionary on the Navajo Reservation. And it was 2 years of hiking. Only fell off a cliff once. That was pretty good. And no, not too bad, really. So, but then I never knew that God would bring me back. Met my wife in Phoenix. We were new Christians in the mid-'90s. And God said, we're reading the Bible and asking God, what should we be? Well, what should we do? It was kind of a no-brainer, really, you know, share the gospel, go out. So we did. And we went up from there north into New Mexico, where I'd been a missionary. I always tell people I feel fortunate that I didn't really convert anybody. Maybe that's part of my problem. I haven't been able to raise enough funds. I don't know. Anyway, so that's another story. I have been really encouraged and challenged about that. So I'm working for a Christian ministry there, right there on the border of the Navajo Nation. And I'm doing, I don't know how many jobs, everyone but 2 jobs, I think. I'm not seeing my kids. And one day, the end of 2013, I find myself in the hospital. I thought I was having a heart attack, but they tell me it was only stress. Because stress can kill you, right? But that's where the thing changed. I'm talking to my wife, and I got a little bit of money from my mother's estate, enough to buy a potter's wheel. In fact, through the 70s in high school and college, I did work in clay. I love clay. I love all the arts. I mean, this kind of a gathering is just like, theater and music and everything else. And so I decided I wanted to buy a potter's wheel. I'd never had one. And so I bought one, and I said to my wife, I started to get this vision of how maybe I could use that out there among these people. And I knew that my wife would need to approve, because she's kind of like the barometer. So, because I said to her one day, I said, maybe this is a midlife crisis thing, right? 50. She looked at me, she said, no, it's not. I thought, whew, all right. So then, I mean, that was important. She's been my most valued encourager. If I don't throw or work in clay for a few days, she'll tell me, you've got to go do this. She's not an artist. She doesn't, it's not like a natural thing for her to say that. And so we moved from where we were into Gallup, New Mexico. Anybody been through Gallup on I-40 east-west? Yes, okay. So we bought a house there 5 years ago. And I've got this vision of creating what I've come to, from some reading I've done and things like that, to call it's creating a community of love, a studio where people can come in and feel God's love be touched, right? It's an area that needs that, just like so many places in the world. And so, in the meantime, I have this vision of this studio. In the meantime, I'm in Gallup, New Mexico, 25,000 people. I'm really the only potter in town. And maybe it's because that's, just not that common. But, and so I had the opportunity to be downtown, have a studio downtown, meet lots of people. Every month we had what we called an arts crawl. If you'd put that first picture up here for me, if you've got it. Were you able to find it? Ah, there it is, okay. This is downtown Gallup. That's my son in the foreground, me there. I decided that I wanted to do some things to encourage unity in the community. So we made handprints, footprints, and a title for a public sculpture, a public art display called Walking Together, Generations Past, Present, and Future. And then the next one, please. I thought, hey, what else can I do to encourage positive things? So I decided to have people come on the arts crawls and come up with a positive word. I'd give them a piece of clay. They would figure out how to put it in there. And then I'd take it home, glaze it, and fire it, and bring it back. And then I'd have them all displayed and say, pick one, give it to somebody that you think needs to hear that word, to have that word. And so finally, in the end, it's just that, I'm not a great artist, but I love doing this, and God has put me in a place where I can do it. And it's just amazing to be able to have the time and the opportunities to be able to share this way and see people really respond and, move toward what God really wants us to do, to be. So, thank you very much.